Hold on. Just realized my mic is lower than it probably should. I probably sound all sexy. Hey, thing. Yeah, that's a great way to start the video, Neil. Even though I am playing Minecraft right now, this is my quick build world. I actually planned it. What's with this horse? I don't like that that's here. I definitely plan to do streams specifically about quick builds and stuff like that. But the reason I'm doing this stream is quite simply I just want to talk about shit. Like, no, that was for something else. Destroy you. Destroy you. Destroy you. I just want to talk about shit. We haven't done Reactaholics in a while, and I just want a platform where I can talk about things I like and things I dislike, and also things that I may or may not be neutral about. I know Callum is going to be watching. It sucks we couldn't get like anybody in here with me, but I'm going to be interacting with Callum as much as I can because I'm pretty sure that first comment was from him. I know he's going to be watching. I'll check though. Got to get on there. Anyways, this is not at all going to be professional. And if you're going in expecting like, this is going to be just like Reactaholics, yeah, you're gonna be very disappointed. Oh no, it's that one guy who watches us. Hi, that one guy. Hey, man. Lol. I have no idea who that guy is, but he watched. Oh, I have 3 views now. Hi, people. Welcome to the Quick Neil world. I guess I could show off some of the builds. Here is our kaiju themed build. I won't go into detail on this one, but this is the one that won. I built a robot penguin fighting a monster. Also later I added a fez because, you know, giant cyborg robot penguin needed a fez. This is our Power Ranger build. This is my build. And this is my brother's build, which, even though I ended up winning, I thought my brother kicked all the ass with this. Like, he built the SPD command center, and I thought it was awesome. You see, you start the video, you realize you want to do a video, and then the second you start it, you absolutely, like, don't know what to do. Even though I was fully aware, like, I got stuff I want to talk about. I'm ready to do this. And then I started the damn video, and I have no idea what to talk about. And I have no idea what I'm doing, because that's just me. I suck. Thank you, other person watching. And I really can't pronounce your name, man. I think it's Christine. Christine. Also, just so you realize, if you are a girl or a guy, I don't know that. So I'm just saying that guy, you very well might be a girl. In fact, with a name like Christine, you might be a girl. You might be a guy. I don't know you. But thank you for watching, and I'm glad you watch all the episodes. I really like your comments. I'm trying to think of transitions into talking about the stuff I want to talk about, and there really aren't transitions. But I knew this wasn't going to be professional. So what I'm going to do is essentially I'm just going to be building things. Not even really building things, just working on this world, getting it more ready for the proper streams that will happen. And while I do that stuff, I'm going to talk. Oh, another comment. Yeah, you see, I thought you were a guy. Very happy that you are a guy, because if you weren't a guy, I would have felt embarrassed because I kept calling you a guy. I thought you were Callum's friend, because, like, I don't know. That's just the vibe I picked up. This is my D&D table. I am proud of it. Yep. Hey, Callum. I knew you were going to be here. I said, I don't know if you were here when I said it, but I'll be interacting with the chat a lot more than I usually do in streams. Because when I did the other one, like I can't remember the name, the Kids on Bikes one, which I am gonna finish. I just took a break for Christmas. Um, you know, you sort of get distracted, like by the story, and you can't really focus on the people watching. But with this, you know, I'm currently just jumping around as I try to think of stuff to do. Like you guys are the main focus right now. Well, I guess I could explain what a quick build is. I guess essentially, before I start talking about the shit I want to talk about, like Aquaman and Spider-Verse movies and things. So quick builds are essentially you get a topic, and the topics are over here. This is our topic area. I have my topic here. The first topic of Spider-Man was placed by me, and whatever the topic is, you have 20 minutes or 30 minutes sometimes to try and build something. Like, for example, this topic was Ronald. So I built Ronald McDonald, and my cousin Sebastian built Ron Swanson from that one show I know nothing about. I think it's called Parks and Recs. Then we have Simpsons over here, and Unbreakable Fortress. I'm actually in a lot of these. But there are some where I didn't build, like, actually I take that back. Currently there are none that I didn't build, but this one is saved for it to not include me. Like, my frame is the green one, this is my cousin's frame, this is my buddy Jaren's frame, and you know, this will be fun. This will be fun. But yeah, I want to talk to things. Oh yeah, Minecraft is fun, man. I mean, like, I like building. Like, I'm pretty creative. I think that's my favorite way to play. This is my little living area. You can see this is my Minecraft skin I like, and I built the face here. This is what greets you. This is my little setup with my food, and god damn it, why does this keep disappearing? Where are the turtle eggs? There they are. I set up food here, and these turtle eggs are actually, in my headcanon, marshmallows. If I can place the rest of them. Now, Jesus. Yeah, so there's some pickles, mushroom, cake, marshmallow, and cup of stuff. Oh, also, here's McGregor. He is my slave. We just sort of decorate our areas, then we do the quick builds. We really wanted a theme of, like, this is a sporting event. So, my cousin's girlfriend, Maddie, she built a trailer. I built a tent. That's my little standpoint. And Jaren didn't follow the theme at all and built himself a log cabin, because Jaren sucks. Love you, Jaren Bear. Okay. It's time to start talking and doing stuff, because I have not been doing either. Let me just look at the comments. I want to keep the comments up in this one. Yum. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Minecraft is very Lego. Like, it's essentially, like, I just like Minecraft, dude. It's a fun game. Okay. So, let's see, what's something I can talk about? Okay, I got this. I can talk about stuff now. Let me just get some measurements. That way I can build stuff. Okay. So we start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fuck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So One, two, three, four, five, six. Okay. Now, let me just remind myself what this looks like. Okay. So I actually need stone bricks. And after I place this, I will be ready to talk about stuff. Alright. So, I mean, I obviously want to talk about Spider-Verse, and I want to talk about Aquaman, because both were really good movies, and they were both from, opposite teams, as you would phrase it. When it comes to comic book movies, I've said this once, I'll say it again. I am a raging bisexual when it comes to comic books. Like, DC is cool. I like DC. You know what else is cool? Marvel. I like them both. I go both ways. I am a DC fan, and I am a Marvel fan. I believe with all of my heart that superhero movies can be enjoyed if they are Marvel or if they are DC. Oh no, I think I fucked up here. Did I? Did I fuck up? No, I didn't. I got it. Okay. So I believe that Marvel and DC movies are both fine. Like DC hasn't been doing so hot, and I'll admit DC hasn't been doing so hot. But I feel like Aquaman is really a win for them. Like, I'm not dumb. I'm not going to argue that Suicide Squad is a good movie. I'm not going to argue that Batman v Superman... Oh, I muffled myself. I'm not going to argue that Batman v Superman is like a good movie either. But I will argue for Wonder Woman. I'll argue for Wonder Woman. I'll argue for Justice League. I will argue until I die for Aquaman, because my whole life I've been saying Aquaman is a dumb superhero. Like, he's silly, he's stupid. And yet, he got a really kick-ass movie, probably my favorite DC movie of all time. And yeah, no, it's just really impressive that Aquaman and Wonder Woman have better movies than Batman and Superman. I mean, I don't mind Man of Steel. I think Man of Steel is fine. But it's really not that great, especially when compared to, like, Wonder Woman. Like, Wonder Woman is just next world when it comes to stuff like that. Yeah, I agree. Kristen, I think a lot of people didn't really love Aquaman. I did, though. Like, my whole life. You see, growing up, I'm a bit of a hypocrite when it comes to this, and I know I'm a hypocrite when it comes to this. So, my favorite superhero growing up, like, I loved Spider-Man, but the second it started getting serious, and, you had to pick one, and that person was going to be your favorite superhero, I ended up picking Hawkeye. And my cousin picked Aquaman. And we would always argue that the other one, had a dumb character. Because, I mean, Aquaman's whole thing is he can talk to fish. His power is, I talk to fish, and I can swim real fast. So growing up, I thought Aquaman was stupid. And, I was kind of right. Like, that is not a super entertaining power to see. Like, visually, it isn't easy to make Aquaman cool. And if you watch the original Super Friends cartoon, Aquaman wasn't cool. He was dumb. And Robot Chicken knew he was dumb, and they made fun of it. So I would always make fun of my cousin, who is actually my best friend now in real life. We would always make fun of each other, like, oh, your superhero only uses a bow and arrow. Well, your superhero swims. And, seeing him in Justice League, like Aquaman, Arthur Curry, you know, I started to realize kind of quickly they were going to do something good with him. I was still a little antsy about it because I felt like they were going the opposite extreme. Like, oh, you think Aquaman is lame? Nah, look how badass he is. He's gonna, like, be our, like, weird cowboy dude bro guy, and he's gonna be the coolest. And I thought at first, like, he looked good, and I love Jason Momoa. So I was cautiously excited for Aquaman, but at the same time, you know, it's Aquaman. Like, I know that seems like a really weird thing to say now because, like, the movie is really good and the character is really cool now. But it's Aquaman. I feel like kids growing up now will never know how stupid Aquaman was. And for good reason. Like, maybe that's for the best. Maybe it's a good thing that Aquaman is going to be cool from this point on. But all of the jokes we made about Aquaman growing up, every single one of them, we look like fools now because of this movie. And I know, like, a lot of people don't like it. And I get that. Like, it is a little fast-paced, in my opinion. Which is weird, because it's long. It's very long. And there's some stuff that really doesn't work. Like, a lot of people have problems with the romance in the movie. I like it personally, but, stuff like that doesn't tend to bug me. I even noticed towards the beginning of the film that some of the CGI, my bad, really is not good. Like, it is not even a little good. It gets better towards the end, though. Like, when that giant battle... Oh, by the way, spoilers. When that giant battle happens towards the end, the CG is great. But towards the beginning, some of the fish look like shit. And I remember, like, laughing about how bad some of the fish looked. Which, and if you think I'm just being a Marvel fanboy here, like, the rhinos in Black Panther look awful, too. Like, I guess it really comes down to with CG. Like, stuff like Colossus, stuff that we couldn't make in real life with visual effects. That's the stuff I think that always looks best in CG. But with stuff like fish and stuff that you can see in real life, yeah, no, you should have just gone the real life route with that. This might not be 100% right, but I will fix it later when I can properly count it. Like, essentially, you're never going to get a computer generation that looks more real than actually getting the real thing. And I know we've taken, like, drastic steps, like, just look at Kurt Russell in, like, Guardians 2. Like, that's younger Kurt Russell. And the reason that's more believable to me, it's because, like, you can't make him younger like that. Like, you could use every visual effect in the book, and you're not going to make him look like how he does because of CG. So with stuff like that, there are definitely exceptions to the rule. But when it comes to fish, something that you could, like, you theoretically could have got a fish. I'm sure it was easier to use CG. You could have got a fish. But I digress, and we'll stop talking about the CG. The movie itself, I thought, was really good. Like, just how do I describe it? Essentially, there have been a lot of... My big criticism with the DC movies is nobody really feels like a superhero. And let me explain. Like, I think the best example of this is in Batman v Superman. There's this big threat happening with Lex Luthor, and Superman's girlfriend, during the entire movie, is investigating the threat. Meaning, there is a way for Superman to know the threat is happening. Also, Batman, the world's greatest detective, doesn't realize that he's being manipulated by Lex Luthor. And I don't like that. But if you watch that movie and didn't know it was about Batman and Superman, would you ever put together that it was a superhero film? Like, I know there's those scenes of Superman doing shit. Where it's like, oh, look, Superman saving people. He's like a god. Look at him ascending from on high. And yeah, I get it. You need to put in that Jesus symbolism, Zach. But here's the thing. He doesn't feel like a superhero. You're making him feel like a god. And Superman isn't supposed to be a god. He's supposed to be more human than Batman. I'm glad they started getting that right in Justice League. But nobody saves anybody. Nobody is a superhero. Like, Batman thinks he's saving the world by going after Superman, but he doesn't see enough, in my opinion. Like, you could totally blame the whole thing on Zod for what happened in Metropolis, and I guess a little bit of Gotham. You could 100%, like, Batman, the world's greatest detective, would be able to realize, like, he would analyze Clark Kent. He would figure this out, that actually this guy is a good dude, before he had to figure out that their mothers shared the last name. I feel like there are so many better routes, and I hate to say it, I feel like it's lazy writing. But they never feel like a superhero. They never feel like somebody who's going to go and save the world. They actually feel like they're causing trouble in the movies. And when it comes to Aquaman, the movie literally starts with him on the submarine saving a bunch of soldiers. I think they're soldiers. It's been a while since I've seen the movie now. But I'm pretty sure they're soldiers. And he makes a difficult choice. Like, he has to choose whether or not to save, like, an enemy's father. And in the end, he chooses not to do it. Now, here's the thing. That's a very, like, not good thing. Like, you didn't save somebody. You let them die. And why is it that even though Aquaman let somebody die, which should be a totally evil act, I still buy him as a hero? Like, he went in there, he knew that these people were hurting people, and he was like, hey, listen, you guys, you hurt people. Let the sea judge you. Let's see if the sea will forgive you. I'm not going to. And I feel like that's totally an Aquaman moment, where he's like, hey, listen, you did a bad thing. I'm not going to take away your punishment. And later in the film, he realizes I created an enemy doing this, and he regrets it. Like, he's not sure about his actions. He's human. And I like that. Well, kinda human. But he's saving people. He's actively going in situations where, had he not been there, people would have died. And I'm sure there's an argument to be made that Superman did the same thing. And you know what? I can't really argue with that. Superman did save people, but it didn't feel like acts of heroism. The way it was portrayed in those movies, it felt like, here is God giving you mercy. That's a route to take. If you want to make Superman a god, go ahead and do it. I guess that's a way to tell your story. But that's not what I wanted. I wanted to see, Clark Kent, superhero. Every time I see that one scene where the lady in the flood is reaching her hand up and Superman is there to save her. I just think of that one nostalgic critic joke where you hear that tiny voice in the background and it starts to get louder and it's just yelling, "I am Jesus!" And I think of it every time Superman does something like that. Like, it's just when you compare Aquaman to Superman, one of them should obviously be the better superhero. Like, one of them can breathe underwater and talk to fish, and the other is Superman. The Man of Steel, the guy who can do pretty much anything. And yet, I relate so much more to Aquaman than I do Superman, because Superman's a god in these movies. He is portrayed as a god. And Aquaman is portrayed as a human. And here's the thing, and this is the most interesting part of the movie to me. It's sort of like a subtext sort of thing, like, you know, this is just how I perceive the film, and maybe it's a little bit of reaching. But when they're going to get the trident, you know, and they find the place, you know, where the trident is kept, and Aquaman first starts to fight the giant creature. Yeah, I agree, Kristen. It's hilarious. Oh, real fast. No, I totally am going to spoil it, Callum. I'm spoiling everything about it. Uh, I'm talking about Spider-Man 2 later, so I'll be spoiling that as well. Um, when they're going to get the trident and they're battling against that giant beast, you know, I'm sure there's also some subtext to be picked up where, like, there's all of these kingdoms, and the ones who are the ones where the trident is, they're the savages. The savages have the trident. I'm sure there's some subtext there. But here's what I perceived. So this beast is just like fighting Aquaman. And the only reason they stop fighting is because Aquaman fucking talks to it. And is like, hey, stop. Listen, I'm here to save people. And the giant monster beast hears him out. Like, yeah, you're here to save people. Okay, well, here's what we'll do. You try to get the trident. If you can't get it, I'm gonna eat you. I'm a monster still. Like, I'm gonna eat you. But if you can get the trident, hey, you're the proper king. And just like that, they talk it out. And I always found that a little weird. But at the same time, a little like, oh, Aquaman's reason that he was able to get the trident is because he can talk to fish. Like, his big power, like, it's just really good writing. But also, I feel like there's some subtext there of, you know, talking is how he saved the day. And they sort of confirm it. Because afterwards, like, if I recall, after he fights Ocean Master, he's like, hey, when you're ready, we can talk. And I feel like that's such an interesting, like, subtext to show that Aquaman isn't just the superhero who can talk to fish. Aquaman is the superhero who talked. Like, he didn't just kill Orm. And that was definitely a solution to the problem. Like, he could have just killed Ocean Master, straight up. Ocean Master was going to kill him. And I feel like, you know, it's a little debatable, but he learned that, like, from killing Black Manta's father. Like, he didn't give that mercy to Black Manta's father, and he created this enemy who's going to hunt him for the rest of his life. So, of course, like, given the option with his brother Like, you could definitely make the argument the only reason Aquaman didn't kill him is because his mother was present. And yeah, that's a good argument. But I feel like it's so interesting that in the end, the fight is going. Arthur is clearly won, and Orm is begging for Arthur to kill him. And then Orm sees his mom. And then everything changes in Orm's eyes. And Willem Dafoe's character walks up and he's like, it just ends on a note where, like, you're sort of smiling. Because even though the big bad guy was thwarted, like, they beat the villain, there's a chance they're going to reform him now. And that's my definition of a superhero. Somebody who not even, like, defeats the bad guys. Someone who doesn't beat the bad guys. Someone who helps them. Like, one of the most interesting concepts of Batman is that he's trying to help Two-Face. Like, he's trying to fix Two-Face. And that's why the animated series works so well. Like, he wants Two-Face to get better. And that's so cool to me. I feel like there's so much that Aquaman did right. And then there's a lot that it did wrong, too. Somebody's knocking on my door. I'm going to go answer it, but I'll be right back. And I got to tell you, Aquaman for me is really great, and that's one of the reasons. Also, Black Manta was totally fucking badass. Sorry about that. I am back. I didn't go off or anything. Okay, let's read some of the comments. I can't hear you over your obvious symbolism. Yeah, he doesn't want to kill anybody. You're right. Like, essentially, like, here's the thing. He totally friggin', like, he does kill a few people. And he lets Black Manta's dad die. So there's an argument to be made about that. There's an argument to be made there. But I agree. Like, for the most part, Arthur doesn't want people to die. I feel like if it's life or death, he's totally willing to kill people. Like, I wonder if at the beginning of the movie, would he have killed Orm if he won the battle? And, Orm would have killed him, like, if he could have. And I feel like Aquaman might have. Like, had he been given the chance, he didn't know this person. All he knew is that they were technically related. And Orm is a human. Like, I'm about to say something a little controversial. DC handled the whole more than one villain thing a lot better than what Marvel handles it. I'll explain in a second, but let me just go on to say that, finish my thought. Like, right before their fight, Orm is like, listen, you're my brother. You're related to me. I don't know you. I don't care about you. But since we're blood, just leave. Just leave and don't come back. We don't have to fight. I don't have to kill you. Just leave. And of course, Aquaman isn't going to do that, and Orm knows he's not going to do that. But he gave him the option, Like, he was like, hey, you can leave. If you choose to do this, you're doing this to you. But if you go right now, we're done. It's over. All you had to do is leave. And I thought that was interesting. Like, he wasn't going to kill Arthur if he didn't have to. Mm-hmm. Uh, I also got around to seeing Bumblebee. I liked it. John was really good in it. Um, I essentially just liked the movie. I thought John Cena was surprisingly good in it. He got a laugh out of me almost every time. It it was just a good movie. It was a good movie. I totally think that girl wants to fuck that robot, but it was a good movie. But just before we get into Spider-Man, I guess this could be sort of like the beginning of the transition into Spider-Man. Aquaman handled villains way better than Marvel handles them. And before everybody's like, oh no, that's not true. Okay, hear me out. In Spider Man Homecoming, there was a main villain, Vulture, and there was sort of a side villain that was sort of like a lackey. And that was Shocker's role. Well, in Aquaman, there's a main villain, Ocean Master, that's Orm, and sort of a lackey, and that's Black Manta. I can't sleep till night. It is night. The sun is going down. Jeez. And it's just weird to me that Shocker was just treated so terribly. Like, thank you, Christine, for yes, hey. Okay, Haley Steinfeld is hot. Um, it's just weird to me that Shocker got so little. Like, there are two forms of Shocker in the movie. And he has very little to do, and one form dies. Like, I don't get that. Like, it felt like such a wasted thing. Like, now all the character we developed for this guy, he's gone now. Here's the new one. And he was just done terribly, in my opinion. Like, that's... Shocker is one of my favorite Spider-Man villains. He's done really well in the Spectacular Spider-Man series. And he just was not done well in Spider-Man Homecoming at all. And when you look at Black Manta, he had a very similar role to what Shocker was. Like, he was essentially, like, just another enemy. Like, I guess also Black Manta is kind of set up because we know, like, he's probably going to join the Legion of Doom. And he's probably going to have a bigger role in the sequel. But Black Manta was done really well. Like, that one song that plays when he's developing his helmet, I love that song. But also, it's just a cool scene where he's like, I'm going to take this, I'm going to make it my own, and I'm going to kill this fucker. Because he killed my dad. It's just so neat to see his role in the movie. Like, one of the very first fights of the movie is between him and Aquaman. Like, he is one of the first characters we see on screen after the whole, like, the prelude, hey, this is how Aquaman got born story. Jango Fett and that one, and the mom from Paddington. No, not the mom from Paddington. That one girl from Paddington got together and had a baby. And he's going to be the king of the ocean. That's how that happens. That's what the birds and the bees are. Oh wait, it's fish. The barracuda and the pufferfish. But yeah, so from the very beginning of the film, we know who Black Manta is. And when he like gets the like this is in terms of origins. We learn Arthur Curry's origins in this. But we also learn Black Manta's, and Black Manta's has a little more focus, in my opinion, because we already knew who Aquaman was, so we just needed a brief like thing and a few flashbacks throughout the film. But with Black Manta, you need to establish everything in this movie, and they do it really well. Even to the point where his dad has to kill himself just so Black Manta will leave and save himself. And that's touching to me because in the end, Black Manta is screaming at his dad because his dad is about to harm himself. Of course, he blames Aquaman, but in that moment, he's just a human seeing that his dad is choosing to choose to save him over saving himself. And he's just frustrated that his dad gave up. And that's so interesting. Like, Aquaman, by far, in my opinion, is the best DC movie so far. And I really hope Shazam, they set a high bar for me. So I really hope Shazam is just as good. But speaking of setting some high bars, Into the Spider-Verse came out. But beforehand, let's get back to the comments. How does he fit the head in the helmet? Well, I'll tell ya. Comic book logic. That's how he does it. It's comic book logic. I completely disagree. You need to watch the Spectacular Spider-Man animated series. You need to watch Spectacular Spider-Man because Shocker is great in that show. He's Southern, but he's really good. And because of that, I really like Shocker. That made me love Shocker, and it shows what he could be. Like, he doesn't need to be a throwaway, oh, I'm not a good villain, I'm just a lackey. And that's what they did in the movie, and that disappointed me. And a lot of stories do that, so I understand why they did that. But at the same time, Tinkerer is also in that movie. Matt Gargan's Scorpion is also in that movie. And I know they're setting up Matt Gargan for, a future film. But at the same time, Tinkerer's in the movie. They have 3 villains in the film. That I don't see Tinkerer coming back. I definitely don't see Shocker coming back. If they bring him back, I feel like it's just wasted potential at this point. Because, at this point, Shocker has no character. And Black Manta, he does have a character. He's set up really well. I just really think Aquaman did it better. 911, handsome man. 9/11, handsome man? What are you saying, Cal? He was voiced by Johnny Bravo? I didn't know that. That's something I didn't know, but I like it better now. So I'm actually feeling kind of sick. I've been sick the past few days. So I might end the stream kind of early. But I'm not gonna end. I am reading the comments! I get it. You were referencing Johnny Bravo. I'm reading them, Callum. Jeez. Leave me alone. But, okay. So I'm probably going to end the stream early. Just because I might go puke. But, I do want to get on to, I want to get on to Into the Spider-Verse. Speaking of voice acting, there's got to be some transition. Because I just want to talk about Into the Spider-Verse. Yeah, obviously it's good. It's really good. It's a love letter to animation. It's a love letter to Spider-Man. It's everything we could have wanted. And I only have one nitpick about the film. And it's kind of controversial. I brought this up to my buddy Ron, who, of course, everybody watching knows who Ron is. Oh, the broadcast is going to. My Wi Fi is fucking up. So I should try to end this quickly, because my Wi Fi is messing up. But, okay. So my only nitpick with the movie is that I feel like, yes, it was spectacular. I feel like it could have been two movies. Because here's the thing, my whole grievance was when the movie was first coming out. It's called Into the Spider-Verse, and it's clearly a Miles Morales story. Now, I was okay with that. But then I figured out they were going to do the Miles Morales origin. And I didn't like that at all. And let me explain my plight. I don't like it because Into the Spider-Verse, in the comics at the very least, was its own thing. And I felt like you could have made two movies. You could have made a Miles Morales origin story and then done Into the Spider-Verse. Combining the two didn't seem like a good idea to me. And now that I've seen the movie, it was a really good idea to combine the two. However, I'm still upset because we could have gotten two of these. We could have gotten an Into the Spider-Verse movie, and then we could have gotten a Miles Morales story. Or reverse that, Miles is first. And it would have been fine. We didn't need them to be the same movie, and I'm glad they were the same movie. It was really fun to see, but at the same time, I do wonder what would have happened if they did the Miles origin story first and then did Into the Spider-Verse. That being said, that is a major nitpick because I love the film. It's really good. I cried 3 times. And that's sort of what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the times in the movie I cried. And that'll be my focus, and then I'll get off here. So the first time I cried was sort of a combination of things. And by the way, spoiler alert. The death of Spider-Man is what I will put it. So when Spider-Man died, I knew it was coming. I knew Spider-Man was going to die. Because I know the Miles Morales story. I know that that's just how it ends. So, Miles takes the role of Spider-Man. He has to take the mantle, and for the mantle to be available, Spider-Man has to die. So I knew that was coming. I knew he was going to die. I just didn't think it was going to affect me as much as it did. I think part of it might have been the fact that we did an episode of Reactaholics specifically about Stan Lee. And, oh yeah, we're going to do, I'm sure we'll do a review video at some point or something. But, we did a video specifically talking about Stan Lee and paying tribute to him. And I realized how much of my life was really affected by Spider-Man and how much, as a person, it changed me. And the death of Spider-Man made me cry. Not when Kingpin killed him. I didn't cry when Kingpin killed him. I knew it was coming. It was after that. It was when we get these scenes of the tribute to Spider-Man. When we see Stan Lee, so I know the Stan Lee had to be part of it, like where he was like, we were friends once. And stuff like that. Like, that had to be part of it. And just everyone standing around and Mary Jane speaking and this big, like, thing where it's like a world without Spider-Man. And seeing everybody pay tribute to him. That's what made me cry. The death of the first ever cinematic death of one of my favorite comic book characters. And, the grieving process. Like, watching what happened after Spider-Man died that made me cry. The second time I cried was um it was also a bit of a combination thing. But it wasn't about Spider-Man in general. It was a scene with Miles. It was that scene where Miles is webbed to the chair and his dad is talking to him because I was feeling for the character, and that was such a powerful thing. Like, even if Miles wanted to say something, he couldn't because he can't control his powers. And I began to, like, the tear finally fell. When I cry during movies, I don't, like, bawl my eyes out. One single tear will fall, Lil Wayne style. And the tear finally fell when Miles took the suit. Because nobody can give you the mantle of Spider-Man. You have to take it. And that's what Miles did. He took the mantle. And that's why he was able to save somebody. He had to accept he was Spider-Man and take the mantle. He had to grab the suit, he had to make it his own, and he had to take up the name of Spider-Man. Also, all of those comic book scenes where the comic books are placed down on the table. Uh, yes, Spider-Man's death was done great. A million times better than Superman's death. Especially because that... Loading or something. Can you guys still see me? Tell me if you can still see me. Can you still see me? Yeah, okay, you can still see me. I sort of lost my train of thought, so let's get back to the final thing that made me cry. And my friend Ron properly predicted I would cry at this part. And it was the end. I cried at the end of the movie. And here's the thing, it wasn't during that Stan Lee thing, which I thought that Stan Lee thing was very powerful. But that's not when I cried. I cried as soon as the movie ended. Now I know what you're thinking, why? I was crying during the credits. Why would you cry during the credits? I was happy that this movie existed. And that this big tribute to a character that changed my life so fucking much was a thing now. I was crying because I just got... Essentially, I guess, if you've ever cried when you've received a Christmas present, that's what it felt like. Like somebody perfectly understood what you would want and gave it to you. And that's why I was crying. Like all of this history, the Spider Buggy, Spider Ham, all of it. And they threw in some newer stuff in there too. Like, as far as like time is concerned, Miles Morales, Spider-Gwen, Penny Parker, they are new characters. But they paid tribute to everything. Except for J. Jonah Jameson, and they threw him in after the credits, so... They took this thing I loved and said, here, let us remind you why you love this so much, while also telling a new story. And that was great. I loved it. My whole nitpick is, I wish they would have gone, hey, let us show you why you love this thing, and then we'll tell you a new story. Like, I wanted more of just, hey, here's some Spider-Man porn. Like, not actual Spider-Man porn. Like, here's the reason you love Spider-Man. Here's, like, just, you know what? I guess it is kind of like... I phrased that weird. Okay, hear me out. So, in the Power Ranger community, we refer to, like, when the show pays tribute to stuff, has, continuity. Sorry, almost coughed my head off. Has continuity porn people. Like, the people who want the continuity to not have plot holes are people who are obsessed with continuity porn. And I guess I was trying to say, here's some Spider-Man continuity porn, but instead I said Spider-Man porn. I'm done. But just at the end, it was like, hey, here's everything you love about Spider-Man. We told our story. We've paid tribute to memes. We've paid tribute to the comic books it was based on. We've talked about everything. Talked about the whole thing. And the whole movie went great, in my opinion. Miles didn't have to earn being Spider-Man. Like, everybody's like, the second it's, like, important, Miles just instantly knows how to be Spider-Man. And here's the thing. I don't think Miles had to earn being Spider-Man. I think he had to accept that he was Spider-Man. Like, the whole time he's conflicted. He even talks to his dad, and he's like, Dad, do you really hate Spider-Man? And his dad is like, yeah, I do. Like, that had to be part of it. Part of Miles, maybe he didn't feel worthy. And maybe he didn't want to be Spider-Man. But he had to accept that he was. And that's why he could use the powers. When he finally accepted, I am Spider-Man, the powers worked perfectly. And he could beat Kingpin and save the day. Do I think Spider-Man 2099 is going to have a big role in the sequel? Well, all I'll say is they got Oscar Isaac to voice Miguel O'Hara, who is Spider-Man 2099. You don't get a big star like that just for an in-credit scene, you know? I definitely think there's something else there. I do hope they go through with the Spider-Gwen movie with Spider-Woman and Silk. I hope they do more. I hope they put Penny in that too. Honestly, I would like to see like some of the funnier. Like, I hope they do the sequel soon, because I want to see more of that art style and I want to see more of the world. I do hope they do Leopard Dawn. And if you don't know who Leopard Dawn is, or Lepardon, basically there was a Japanese series of Spider-Man that was very similar to Power Rangers. In this series, Spider-Man has a giant robot named Lepardon. And in the Spider-Verse comic, you know, the like Into the Spider-Verse comic or whatever it's called, Lepardon is like their secret weapon. Like, it's like, oh, we need to fight this thing. What do we do? And then Lepardon comes out. And it's like, oh, it's Japanese Spider-Man robot. And it's so fucking hilarious and badass and cool. And it's just awesome. I really hope he's in the sequel. I guess other Spider people, I mean, we've got Spider-Gwen. I like that Spider-Gwen is there. We've got Miles Morales. We need Agent Venom. And I know it's arguable on whether or not that is part of the Spider-Man family, but listen to me, damn it, he is. Agent Venom is a member of the Spider-Man family in my book. Get Flash Thompson, get him in the Agent Venom suit, bring him in. We need it. And it would be so cool to, like, have his origin story. Like, just anybody who doesn't know Agent Venom's origin, it's really good, and there's a really good video by the comic historian I would like to show anybody about his origin story. With that, I'm just about to end the stream just because I am literally dying. Like, I know I'm putting... Hey. I know I'm putting a lot of effort into not looking like I'm dying. I am literally dying. So, if there's... Yep, like a turd in the wind, buddy. If there's anything you guys want to say or want to know my opinions on, ask now. At 7:20, I am going to get off. Yeah, I watch Comic Historian. He is I don't really read comics. I just watch Comic Historian a lot, listen to some audiobooks. Um, I read Gwenpool comics, but that's like the only one. I do like Comic Historian. I like Comic Historian a lot. Gwenpool comics actually got canceled recently, and it broke my little heart. It did. It broke it. Any more questions? Ask away, because I'm getting off in 5 minutes. I should put that in the chat. Ask any questions now. Getting off in 5 minutes. And if I don't get questions, I I guess I'll just get off early. Yeah, Callum, that's not a question. Um, yeah, we're going to, buddy. Just, you got to get the go ahead from Chris. Like, message him directly. You got to. Am I looking forward to Venom 2? Maybe? Listen, I was really excited for Venom, and, I didn't hate Venom. I didn't. But, you know, that wig looked terrible on Woody Harrelson. I think Venom is a good movie. I think it's fine. I liked it. I'm nervous for Carnage. I hope it's good. Could be good. Uh, they're gonna have to do something interesting, because I know the next villain film is Morbius. They're gonna do Morbius, who is my second favorite Spider-Man villain. My first one is Mysterio, and then they're gonna do Kraven. And I'm pretty sure they said this, that Kraven is gonna be, like, Spider-Man is gonna be in the Kraven movie. And that's good. Like, that's all fine and good, but with the Venom sequel, they have to put Spider-Man in. Like, I can't think of a compelling story unless Spider-Man is involved. And, they did okay with the first one, but they're gonna have to get something good. My favorite color is green, Callum. My favorite color is green. My favorite color combination is green and gray. My favorite color for a while was red. It isn't anymore. It is green. That's actually why my Minecraft skin has a green shirt. More questions. More questions. We got 2 minutes left. Oh, 1 minute left. Buzzer beater. Ask the best question of the night, because it's going to be the last one. Have you been watching Young Justice Season 3? I haven't been watching Young Justice at all. Listen, I started watching Young Justice. I watched a good chunk of the episodes in Season 1. I stopped. And it isn't that I didn't like Young Justice. It's just, I started growing up. And I started getting some responsibilities, and it just faded for me. And, I'm probably going to go back and watch it again eventually. But I heard that Jason Todd is in the newest season, which I think is cool. I can't wait to go see him. Like, I love anything with Red Hood in it. But honestly, if you want a good DC show, I recommend Gotham. Like, you sort of gotta get through the first few seasons, because the first few seasons aren't bad, but they don't feel super Batman-y. Um, I'm pretty sure that's a reference to Monty Python. Uh, I do not know the velocity of an unladen swallow. And my quest is to get the Holy Grail. So I assume I can pass. But to finish my thought, Gotham is really good right now. They're finally doing all the Batman stuff we were hoping they were going to do. And it takes a little bit to get to that point where they are doing Batman stuff. But they're doing it now. And that's absolutely great. I will answer this final question. Do we have any future plans for Reactaholics? Yeah, we have a Batman animated series episode coming up. Callum really wants to do a video game thing, and we're probably going to do it. I've also been playing around with a few different ideas. Ron is planning on doing his own show eventually. So yeah, like Reactaholics isn't done. What I would like chalk it up to is we sort of took a holiday break. If you do want a sort of kind of Reactaholics thing, we did a D&D video which is called Reactaholics Save Christmas, and Ron and Callum are in it, and myself, and it's just a fun time. We're just having fun. With that, I am gonna go ahead and get off here just because I am dying. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll probably do a few more like this when I just want to talk about stuff. So yeah, expect these regularly. I know it's not Reactaholics, but, you know, if you want to know specifically my opinions, leave comments, because I'll bring them up in the next time I do this. Alright, guys, I'm gonna go die now. Bye. How do I turn you off?